Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Expert in the House call. And look, I know there's a few of you who have joined. There might be a few more that will be coming on. But my name's Janene Babauskis, and look, I'm just so grateful that somebody shared these amazing molecules with me around 5 years ago. So, my intention tonight is to just give you a little bit of my story and then explain what the possibility of redox signaling molecules could be for you. So these little molecules are made every nanosecond of every minute throughout the day, whether we understand them or not, whether we know about them or not. It's a mechanism that's going on all the time, which is what keeps us well. And it's a very new science. So most of you on the call who perhaps are here for the first time may not have heard of redox signaling molecules. In fact, probably I would assert that you hadn't at all. So thanks for joining us tonight to find out more about how you can feel better, perform better, look better, and also just finding out what's possible for you, because with knowledge comes choices. And my background, I'm a health practitioner, and the premise of my work was through education. So with people having an understanding, they could make those choices that would improve their well-being, because quality of life is certainly diminished when we've got health challenges. And many young people have health challenges that get in the way of them reaching their dreams and having their aspirations in place as well. So before we get started, I just want you to consider what inspired you to be here tonight. It could be that you have a health challenge, or somebody and care about may have a health challenge. It could be you just want to look and feel like you did a few years ago. You might like some improvement in your athletic performance and recovery. And for me, I'm not a big one for exercise, but I like to be really active. So athletic performance for me is being able to go up the farm and move a ton of rocks if that's what's required to be done in that day. So that's my athletic performance. And to recover. So the next day, I don't even feel like I've done anything unusual in the day. It could be you like to work preventatively. In my line of work, I sadly discovered most people don't work preventatively. They ended up being in front of me when they had a challenge going on. It could be that you're looking for an opportunity. It could be a business opportunity. It could be an opportunity to be inspired and get out of bed in the morning to do something that you really love. It could be you're just curious. That's why you're here tonight. That's a great reason. And it could be because you think somebody close to you could have joined a cult. Because when people discover redox and discover the power of it, they usually talk a lot about it. So you might be on here just to shut them up. So welcome. Whatever reason you're here, it's all perfect. So I'm just going to give you a little bit about my story. As I said, my background, I'm a health practitioner, and I found myself in 2014 in a very foreign place. I was burnt out. I was very low in energy. I wasn't sleeping. I was very stressed about my circumstances, which meant I was worried. I was sad. I felt like I had no purpose. I was a source of worry for my daughters instead of an inspiration. I had chronic joint trauma that wasn't healing. And I was turning 60 and for the first time started to look my age. And when I knew that meant that, I was rusting, looking a bit rusty on the outside, that meant I was rusting out on the inside. So it alarmed me a bit, because I had knocked myself around in a business. I'd worked just ridiculously hard for 10 years because I loved what I was doing. but I always had the answers, but the answers weren't working anymore. And this became alarming for me. And it was January the 4th, 2015, that I was introduced to redox signaling molecules. So this is new for me. How come I hadn't heard of it? For those of you on the call tonight, you'll know more about this topic than most people out there practicing to assist people with their well-being. If you know about redox signaling molecules, they just don't have that missing piece of the jigsaw. And that's what redox was for me, a missing piece of the jigsaw. So very quickly, in 2 to 6 weeks, I experienced complete healing in joint trauma, in sun damage to my face. I had veins that disappeared. My energy was up. I had people asking me if I'd been to Thailand and had a little bit of freshening up, which I laughed. That was 6 weeks in, 3 people in 1 week. So that's just the redox signaling molecules repairing cells, because after all, wrinkles and lack of elasticity in the skin and all those things are just signs of cells that are damaged. And I looked different, and I felt different. So life dramatically altered for me. And life today for me is making a difference. I travel a lot. I travel with my daughters. I'm working and meeting like-minded people. And basically I have a dream business. And there's lots of beautiful memories that have been created thus far, and there'll be lots more created in the future. And for me, it doesn't get any better, because the success of my business is dependent on me helping others, and that's always been very important to me. So I get to get up every morning and participate in what I consider a dream business. Well, tonight's not about me. Tonight's about you. So what could your story be? And you know what? The sky's the limit, because ASEA, which is a company that have brought this technology to market, have made available for us redox signaling molecules, which is one of the most significant health, science, and athletic breakthroughs of our lifetime. This is since the discovery of penicillin. This is huge. This is massive. And here we have Dr. Gary Samuelson. He's one of 5 medical atomic physicists on the planet. And he worked with our visionary founder to stabilize these molecules outside of the body. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So redox is a fairly new science. The molecules have been... Science have known about the molecules for a long time, but what they didn't know was the true role of the molecules. They deemed that redox signaling molecules were a waste product. And in 1998, these 3 scientists actually discovered the very first redox signaling molecule. They were doing research with the cardiovascular system. And because of this discovery, they actually won a Nobel Prize. So this science is only around 20 years old. So let's look at what redox molecules are not. They're not a vitamin, they're not a mineral, antioxidant, exotic juice, etc. These things are critical for your well-being, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And this is what I had plenty of in my body. I had plenty of these. But the healing wasn't happening like it would when I was younger. So, and this really puzzled me. So this was the missing piece, and we'll get to that. So I love these. These are a critical part of our well-being, but it's not the full picture. Redox molecules turn back the clock. So let's just look a little bit closer at that. So for us to be healthy, all of our systems, organs, tissues need to be healthy. And what are all these made up of? They're all made up of cells. So we are around 70 trillion cells, all of us, and all of those cells are little bags of salt waters with little mechanisms, lots of mechanisms inside of these bags of salt water going on. All these little organs within the cell all have a role to play for the cell to function correctly. So what underpins the health of the cell, and this is the breakthrough, the scientific breakthrough, is redox signaling molecules. And I'm just going to go into a little bit about where they're made within the cell. So every cell has a power plant, has several of them, called the mitochondria, anywhere from 200 to 5,000, depending on the function of that cell. And the mitochondria's job is to convert the food we eat into energy. And as it makes that energy, it also spins out redox signaling molecules. And this is going on every nanosecond of every day. And the mitochondria actually makes the redox out of salt and water. There's plenty of salt and water available, and that is exactly how it's made within the cell. So these are messenger molecules, and they underpin the health of our cells. In other words, the very ability of our cells to function and do what they're designed to do are critical and dependent on the messenger molecules, the redox signaling molecules. So if our cells are healthy, we're healthy. You know, if you want a healthy pancreas, you need healthy pancreas cells. So let's look at what do these messenger molecules do? Well, they protect the cell. The cell has lots of threats. It's part of life going on all the time, whether we know it or not, but the cell has no way to communicate with the immune system. So the redox signaling molecules interact with the cell and the immune system. So it's like, you know, picking up the phone and calling in the immune system. Hey, we need some help down here. There's a threat happening. That all happens with the messenger molecules of redox. We have DNA that gets damaged in our cells. That's just part of life. And the mechanism of redox is there to, number one, detect that damage and then either initiate repair, or if repair is not possible, then redox initiates the replacement of that cell. And it will also instruct a healthy cell to divide and replace that cell. So all of that's going on through the messenger molecules of redox. So redox protects the cell, it detects damage, it either repairs that damage or initiates replacement. So just think about cellular damage as like in your home, you've got a fireplace, you've got a fire burning and it's creating heat and energy within your home. But if a log rolls out of the fire, then we've got damage going on to the house. So just think about that. We've now got a fire going on in the home, damage is being created, and what would you do? You'd pick up your mobile phone, and through the signal of your mobile phone, you'd be able to call in help. So what would we call? We'd call the fire brigade, because the fire brigade has all of the resources to come in and actually put out the fire. And we'll talk a little bit more about how redox relates to then the repair of our home if we had a fire out of control in our house. Now, another protective role of redox is they activate our antioxidants. So most people tonight, you will have heard of antioxidants. They've been around, I think they've been around for like 30 years. And the thing is, oxidative stress is the #1 health risk. Now, we actually have within us endogenous antioxidants. They're there to, that's a mechanism that's naturally occurring to, let's say, keep the fire in the fireplace and stop it burning out of control. So antioxidants are there to target oxidative stress. And, you know, some of you probably take antioxidant supplements, or you focus on eating foods that contain antioxidants like blueberries and all those kind of things. But what's interesting is redox signaling molecules actually activate our antioxidants. So think about a light bulb, like this light bulb, you know, it's a perfectly healthy light bulb, nothing wrong with it, but unless I've got it plugged into a socket where it's getting electricity and lights it up, then the light bulb is kind of redundant. And that's what's happening with our antioxidants. With insufficient redox, the antioxidants are not being activated. We also know that redox signaling molecules increase antioxidant effectiveness by 500 to 800%. So that master antioxidant like glutathione and then superoxide dismutase and all of those, they keep this oxidative stress in check, provided we have enough redox signaling molecules. So so it's sounding like redox signaling molecules are really important. So yeah, okay, get that. So why would we need to supplement with redox signaling molecules? Well, what's interesting is when puberty hits, our redox starts to decline, and that's actually what causes our aging. So by the time we're 40, we're down to 50% redox. I mean, you know, we still do the things at 40 that we did at 20 in most cases, but you may notice you take a day or two to recover from a game of tennis or getting out there and doing something quite strenuous. And then by the time we're 70, we're down to 20% redox. And we can really, really feel and see those visible signs of aging. So what was happening for me, approaching 60, I was down to 30% redox. So imagine having a corporation, a fully successful functioning corporation, and every decade you sacked 10% of your staff, because that's what happens in our body. Every decade we lose 10% of our redox. So by the time you're down to 30% staff, things just aren't working the way they're meant to. Things get overlooked, things get missed, things just don't happen that are meant to happen for that corporation to run effectively and efficiently. So that's what's going on in the body. And interesting, when we're 20, our skin cells turn over around 28 days. But by the time we're 50, our skin cells are turning over, you know, about every 90 days. So no wonder skin is showing visible signs of aging. Now, what else aggravates this? Well, guess what? Lifestyle choices aggravate it. So diet, stress, environmental toxins, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough exercise, you know, all of those things further aggravate the situation, because what happens then is lifestyle choices impact the health and the function of the mitochondria. So now we've got sick mitochondria. So the less effective and efficient the mitochondria is, the less the body makes the redox signaling molecules. So to be able to replenish your cells with more redox signaling molecules would be groundbreaking. Awesome. But due to the highly reactive and fleeting nature of these molecules, science declared that it was impossible to stabilize these molecules outside of the body. So they're easy to make outside of the body, but as quick as you make them, they revert back to the salt and water that they're made out of. So if you can't stabilize them, then there isn't a shelf life, which means you can't commercialize them. You can't make them available as a supplement. So one biotech company for at least a decade invested millions of dollars to stabilize them outside of the body. And 2 pharmaceutical companies also attempted. So with them all failing, it was deemed impossible to stabilize them outside of the body. However, ASEA achieved the redox breakthrough. So after 2 decades and millions of dollars of research, a team of scientists led by Dr. Gary Samuelson, a medical atomic physicist, achieved the impossible. Not only did they create them outside of the body, they stabilized redox signaling molecules. And as a result of that, we have a cellular health company called ASEA that are servicing cellular health from the inside out and from the outside in. So these are our 3 redox signaling molecule supplements. We have a drink, so we're getting redox on the inside. We have Renew 28, which is redox signaling molecules in a gel that you apply from head to toe. And the more you use it, the more flexible you become. For me, the more places I can apply it. And then we have the wonderful concentrated serum, and that is designed to spot treat, if you like, with redox. So people would use it on areas on your face where you're more prone to aging. People use it on little things that are growing on the skin that aren't meant to be there. So we have the 3 products. Renew 28 is 4 times more concentrated in redox signaling molecules than the drink, and the serum is around 7 times more concentrated than the drink as well. So how does ASEA make redox signaling molecules? Well, they start off with pristine salt and water, exactly the same as what's found in the cells. And the salt and water is then broken down into free-floating atoms, and then atoms are reconstructed into stabilized redox signaling molecules. And this takes nanoseconds in the body, takes 3 days to achieve this for our redox signaling molecules in our drink. And this is the only product, the only supplement out there that is actually bioidentical or native to the body. So when we consume it, it's exactly the same as what's made in the cell. So the uptake and utilization is immediate. ASEA has also funded millions of dollars of research utilizing well-respected laboratories around the world. And I'm just going to refer to a couple of the studies here, some independent clinical studies over a 4-week period that were done with redox signaling molecules in our gel, the Renew 28. And it was Stevens and Associates and Dermatest who did these studies. So I've got a few favourites. I've only listed the favourites here. Skin cell renewal turnover in 28 days increased by 16%. So that's truly turning the clock back. That's anti-aging. So if your skin cells were turning over at, in a 90-day cycle, depending on your age, then increase that by 16%. So you've shortened that turnover cycle. And this was only participants applying Renew 28 just twice a day over a 4-week period. On the face, there was a 23% increase in smoothness, a 23% reduction in the depth of wrinkles. There's nothing out there on the planet that can get these results. So if you're investing in skincare, you'd want a redox-based skincare, that's for sure. 20% improvement in elasticity, again in 4 weeks, and just applying twice a day to the face. So on the inside, a lot of disease states is loss of elasticity there too. So increasing any tissue elasticity in the body is really, really good for our well-being. This one's probably my favorite. Skin blood flow was increased by 50%. And in fact, within 10 minutes of first applying Renew 28, skin blood flow had increased by 49%. And this was just applied twice a day. And on average, it was around 50% over the 4 days. So when you can increase blood flow, because that's another area that diminishes as we age, skin blood flow just doesn't get to the cells like it used to. So that means there's a lack of oxygenation, a lack of nutrition, and also a lack of detoxification at the cellular level. So all of those things add up to increasing the aging process. So if you haven't had a redox experience and you're on the call tonight, then when we're finished, definitely ask somebody to help you out with what's called a 3 in 5 application. So we know that 9 out of 10 people will experience a specific measurable result when they use the Renew 28 externally on the body. So if you have any restricted range of movement or any discomfort anywhere, anything that's, you know, causing, has got your attention because it's not working the way it's meant to. It could be a skin irritation. Then apply Renew 28 just 3 times. We call it 3 in 5 minutes. And what that means is you apply about a blueberry size, just spread it over the area or the joint. You don't even have to wait for it to soak in. Then you can apply another blueberry size and just do that 3 times and then wait for the Renew 28 to soak in before you put clothing back on that area. Then wait 10 minutes and then assess the area. Always do a, you know, out of 10, how would you rate the discomfort, we'll say, and 10 being the worst. So if you rated it an 8 and then 10 minutes later after applying, rate it again. And a lot of people, it'll rate it as 0. But, you know, if not 0, it'll drop. And if you're one of those people who go, well, nothing changed, if you are that 1 out of 10, then you just need more redox. But most people will have a redox experience using the gel. So in addition to redox signaling molecules, we also have cutting-edge nutritionals. And this was very exciting for me because I've always taken nutritional supplements from about the age of maybe 25. I've always understood the power of you know, a healthy, clean diet. But you know, your digestion and with stresses and all that kind of thing, you really don't extract all the nutrition out of your food. So I've always supplemented. But at the end of the day, a lot of supplements are synthetic, and certainly some of them that I was on was synthetic. And look, we really don't know what the uptake of those nutritionals are. So for me, I was very excited when I looked at the formulation of these, a whole food nutrition where it's based on organic food that's been fermented. So the formulation is highly bioavailable, which means my body gets to it increases the uptake and utilization. And, you know, if I'm going to invest in a supplement, that would be definitely the way to go. Digestive health, most people understand that our health begins in the gut. And this is very true. And to have a fabulous digestive health supplement and then an anti-aging and vitality supplement. So you can learn more about those by going to asiavia.com. So redox cell signaling provides the labor, if you like, and this was what was missing for me. I had like an old man with a hammer working away in like imagine all the lights going out in a city, and you send out just a couple of people to get the job done. It's just not going to work. So our redox provides the labor, which protects our cell, detects the damage, initiates that repair or cell replacement. And the nutrition provides the raw materials. So like building a house, the quality of raw materials is really important. And, you know, the body will rebuild with poor quality materials. But, of course, the longevity of that rebuild it's just not going to be sustainable like it would if we used high quality raw materials. So for me, I had all the raw materials there, but they were just sort of rotting on the site. So just to take you back to the house where the logs rolled out of the fire, so now we've got like oxidative stress going on in the house. When that fire is put out, the first thing you're going to do is get a foreman and his team in to clean up the debris, well, to do the rebuild. Well, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to have to clear away all the damaged stuff. And that's what happens in the body as well when we supplement with redox. The body will detoxify because it's got lots of debris and lots of things around the cell that need to be removed in order for that cell to be repaired and be healthy. So, yeah, drinking more water or drinking sufficient water to support your excretory organs is something that we always recommend. So the foreman and his team come in, they clear away all the debris, and then they'll order in the raw materials, and then they'll start the rebuild. And of course their plans is the DNA. So if you think about that, that's exactly what's going on in the body. So I had like raw materials sitting around doing nothing, but once I got the team in, then the rebuild began, and things dramatically healed, like at a rate that just shocked me. I was really delighted. So we have a complete cellular health over here. They have the raw materials and they have the labour, and we can see there a SIA at work. Lots and lots of labour. So there's redox signaling symposiums going on all over the world every day. There are thousands of peer-reviewed studies. So for those of you with a science background, head over to PubMed or Redox Scholar, and you'll definitely be inundated. Just do a search on redox signaling molecules. It's a very, very exciting field in the area of science, that's for sure. So we also have what's called our Renew Advanced Skincare. So it's the world's only redox skincare system. It's a really simple system. You cleanse. It's a beautiful cleanser, and it's got lots of special qualities on that. I do a whole workshop just on the skincare, but just in a nutshell, we cleanse, then we repair, and we've got the 2 redox products there for repair. You've got your Renew 28 for your whole face and neck décolletage, and then you've got the serum where you can do those wonderful spot treatments, and then we replenish with a moisturizer, and you're done. So let's just have a look at some of the results. So here we have Rosie, age 84. She started on the liquid, 60 mils twice a day, and she was also using Renew 28. We always recommend take a photo, and Rosie's a classic of why we recommend that. So around 6 weeks later, her son rang her and said, "How's it going?" Because he got her started on it. She said, "Oh no, can't see any difference." He said, "All right, when the gardener comes Friday, take a photo and send it to me." So she sent it to him, and he sent them back to her side by side. Now, I don't know about you, but that just doesn't look like the same woman. And she actually got a shock when she saw the 2 photos. And yet looking in the mirror, she couldn't see that there were any changes. And there we see her at 86 and 87. I mean, at 87, she sold up her house, moved to Florida. Rosie's having a ball. And every time I see her, she looks younger. So she was using redox from the inside out and the outside in. But it's not just for people in their 80s. Lots of young adults have these kind of challenges, well, all sorts of challenges actually, but this seriously impacts their self-esteem. And we can see this boy here smiling on the right. He's had a fantastic result there, and it would have been in a very short space of time. Renew prior to surgery and post-surgery improves and speeds the healing. And so on the left here we have a knee surgery. That's 9 weeks later. The one on the right, though, that's 5 weeks later. That's a significant piece of stitching and scarring there, and you can barely see it on the right. And if you were talking to that person, not only are we, saying, look, visually it looks different, but the speed of repair would have been increased dramatically. In fact, often surgeons get confused when you go back for a post-check, because what they're looking at and the date of the paperwork just doesn't match up. So yeah, we've had a few funny stories, lots of funny stories about that actually. So this is Amy Jench, and this is a photo of her on day 1, the day she started using redox signaling molecules. She'd had a skin condition that started at the age of 13. She's around 22 now. And also she had multiple other health challenges, like pretty serious digestive health issues, which really impacted her ability to go out. She also would only go out if she had makeup on. So a lot of the time she was a bit of a hermit. And for a young person and, you know, a teenager and growing into a young woman, that had lots of emotional challenges for her. Anyway, in August last year, she started drinking the molecules and applying the gel. And you can see there on day 10, there's a significant difference in how her skin looks. And her digestive discomfort almost disappeared overnight. So instead of leaving home with a toilet map, she's just free to go out. And that also impacted her energy levels, and everything about her life changed significantly. So she feels completely different now. Anyone that not only does her skin, I met her in February this year. She just a beautiful, gorgeous young lady with just the most magnificent skin. You would never have thought that for years she'd been battling this kind of condition. And she says, I feel completely different. And yeah, it's just beautiful to see those results. So ASEA is a company built on a foundation of integrity. Now, that was really important to me. I've been involved with some state-of-the-art products I would say three times in my lifetime. And anything that I love and I know makes a difference to people, I will share it. You know, I also will share a good electrician, a good painter. I'll share anything that I've had a really great experience with. And but the thing that was interesting for me in all of those past companies, I experienced where there was a lack of integrity, and that seriously impacted my business. And so that was really critical to me when I was looking at the redox signaling molecules. First of all, is it safe? Yes, it's safe. Secondly, great, I'll order it in and start using it. And then I had that amazing result. But also within all of those conversations, it was like, well, who's behind the product? Do they know what they're doing? Do they have the expertise? Is this a company built on integrity? What's their ethos? You know, how did they put all this together? So anyway, that was I had 19 areas that needed to have a tick for me to feel really confident moving forward with this company, and all of those areas, all of those boxes got a tick. So here we have Vertus Norton, who's our ASEA founder. He was known in the corporate world as a business strategic genius. There's his son, Tyler Norton, who now leads the company. But the thing was, Vertus has mentored. He retired at 56. He was, you know, wealthy, and you know, he had other things to facilitate in his life, if you like. He got on many boards and helped many companies navigate their way through challenges. And he mentored many Fortune 500 CEOs after he retired from Kraft Foods. And one of these companies was the biotech company that was working with redox. So that's how he even got to be connected with redox. And he actually had a health challenge himself. At the time, he was 69. And the biotech company that had were really passionate about bringing this to market. They had been able to stabilise the redox for up to 30 minutes, but you had to make it and then drink it straight away. So they sent Vertus home with a little machine to make the redox, which he did, and he drank it, even though no one really understood what this salt water stuff was that was converted to these healing molecules. He himself, in a very short space of time, had a complete healing. So he knew there was something really powerful to these molecules. So sadly, he wasn't able to assist this biotech company in trading their way out of the financial mess they were in. The company had to liquidate, and Vertus raised the funds to actually buy the 10 years of the science and the research. And he then discovered Dr. Gary Samuelson quite by accident. They are the two that worked on stabilizing the molecules and achieved that success after 12 months. So, you know, with a vision and a mission, you can achieve whatever you put your mind to, even when science has deemed it impossible. So ASEA's mission is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. And that's powerfully what they are doing. Athletes are winning with redox. Let me see. There we go. So anything from top athlete swimmers to running, to Eddie Hall, who's the strongest man in the world, to sprinting, you name it. There are athletes out there who are using the redox signaling molecules, and any wonder they're using it. Eddie Hall, actually 2 years on redox, then took out the strongest man in the world. And, you know, the guy he beat is twice his size. Eddie Hall's not that big. He's very strong. And he's been up against a Russian for 2 years who literally was twice the width and twice the height. And to see Eddie take out the strongest man in the world and know he'd been working with redox signaling molecules, it was very, very exciting. Dr. Robertson Ward. Yes, Marina, what we'll do, once I finish the presentation, we will actually go to questions. So Dr. Robertson Ward, head over to his website. He's a medical doctor in the United States. He works with redox with his patients. He is so in love with redox signaling molecules in his practice that he's actually dedicated a website. I'm just hoping there's not a reason why those hands are being raised. He's dedicated a website called theredoxdoc.com. And no, there's too many people raising their hand. I'm just going to see what's going on. Oh, it's okay. Oh, thank you. Maybe they've had to go. They're just thanking me, which is really nice. Okay, let's get back here. Okay, Dr. Robertson Ward, yeah, head over to his website. It's a great resource for redox signaling molecules. So, you know, for lay people, you'll get a lot out of it. If you've got a science or a medical background, you will also get a lot out of it. So he goes into a lot of detail about redox-based illnesses. In fact, he has written 2 or 3 books now, and one of them is on healthy cells, healthy life. And so the person who invited you tonight, talk to them if you'd love to have a look at this book. It's a great book, and it talks about the role of redox signaling molecules of all the systems in the body and its role when things aren't going too well in the body as well. But what's interesting in this book, on page 16, he talks about redox and your genes, particularly your genetic expression. And 95% of your genes are not fixed. It's only 5% that determine the colour of your eyes, you know, the colour of your hair, all those kind of things. So what if we could influence these genes? Well, guess what? Our genes tell our cells what to do, and what we know through science is that lifestyle choices turn good genes off and bad genes on. So this is referred to as your genetic expression. So those lifestyle choices we talked about before that actually slow down and impact the amount of redox that our mitochondria make also influence our genetic expression. So for example, with you know, people who have cancer, their oncogene is turned on and their tumor suppressor gene is turned off, and you don't want that. You want it reversed. So the good news is, if we turn the bad genes on and the good genes off through lifestyle, we can turn that around. We can turn that around with lifestyle choices, and we can also turn that around with redox signaling molecules. So Dr. Robertson Ward says, I know of no better resource than supplementing redox molecules if we want to impact the cells foundationally. So it's a great book, a great read. So what can you expect? Well, in less than a month, 10 to 15% of people notice a specific measurable result. So that means the other people, they're using it, they haven't noticed anything yet. After 1 month, 50 to 65 people notice a specific measurable result. 2 months, 75 to 85, and 3 months, 90% of people notice an effect. So, you know, speak to the person who invited you tonight. You know, we'll do a Q&A session in a minute. What we know is that it's definitely a 3-month dedication, and depending on your age or what, how much damage that you're wanting to reverse, you know, you would either need to be on it for longer or perhaps needed to have taken more in that 3-month period. But we definitely recommend that if you're going to be using redox, the thing is, it's new to market, it's new to people when they start taking it. Of course, you want evidence that it's working for you. So we know redox works for everybody. It's just whether you've taken enough redox signaling molecules to repair enough of the cells that you start to turn the train around, if you like, that's heading for the cliff, and you get enough cells repaired that all of a sudden you are noticing those specific measurable results. And that's really important. We all want to notice that, you know, something was like this before redox and now it's like this. So how could you be part of a SEA, or how could you be using the redox signaling molecules? You can be a consumer, live younger, longer, experience better health, and you have access to retail or wholesale pricing. I don't think anyone wants to pay retail personally. You can share and be rewarded. Now, when I first ordered my redox, I had no idea if it worked. 5 years ago, I didn't know anyone taking it, not here in Australia. But I thought, if this works, if it does what I've read that it does, I'll be definitely wanting the people in my life to know about it. So for me, I set up an account as an associate. There was a $60 investment for that. You get access, of course, to wholesale pricing. You can also share it with others and help them with their health and well-being. And that starts to cover the cost of your products. And, of course, the more you share it, the more you cover the cost of all of your products. So for me, as I said, if I love something and I know it makes a difference and I know it helps people, I'm going to tell them. In fact, I didn't really have to worry about telling them. I had my friends asking me, what are you on? What are you doing? You look different and you feel different. And I was certainly noticing how much different I felt. So people pick up on that. You could also, there could be a starting here, the share and be rewarded, and a lot of people are in a job they just don't enjoy doing, and you could transition into creating a residual income. And that's a super exciting business model. I've been in traditional business all my life. In fact, I bought my first business when I was 18. I never want to do traditional business again. And that's a seminar in itself. But to have a home-based business where I don't carry stock, I don't need staff, and I have the complete mentorship of the people in my ASEA business who are mentoring me from above, which is all for free. I've just got to turn up and be willing to be coachable. So I've been trained in how to build a residual income, and the sky's the limit on that. You know, you could be earning a part-time income, you could go full-time. I now have people on my team who have left their full-time career because they've been able to build an income with ASEA and they love doing it. So they're really creating a lifestyle and getting away from that 9 to 5. ASEA are in 33 countries around the world as well. So you can build a national or a global business and create that financial freedom. anyway, that's a great conversation to have with somebody on your team who is a diamond status or above. Talk to them, get connected up with them, and ask them about it. And the thing is, you earn as you learn. So you don't have to know how to build this business. You just got to be willing to use the product and share it with others, and grow and develop yourself. I always say that this business is really about personal development, because the more you develop yourself as a person, the more successful you are in the business. So it's a great personal development program. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. You could be in someone's lounge room, you could, with other people, you could be on your own. You may be viewing this as a recording, because all of these Expert in the Houses are available ongoing for recording. So I thank you for your time and your commitment to join us tonight, and also trusting Asia and the person who invited you to check out a little bit about what these molecules. We're really only scratching the surface, but I'm hoping this has raised your curiosity to find out more, to talk to people, to have your own redox experience. And I also want to thank Vertus Norton, our beautiful ASEA founder, because without a vision and a mission, we wouldn't be here tonight. And when he retired at 78, the 2015 conference, these were his final words on stage. And he said, "We are all at the start of something big with great purpose. And right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world." So I'm just going to stop the share now, stop the recording.